Cool. All right. Welcome back to the Humans of Grappling, where we explore the intersection of grappling and everything else in life. We talk about applying grappling to everyday life and everyday life to grappling. We're here today with Jiu Jitsu coach and content creator Eric Robinson. You may know him from his various Instagram accounts, such as the Jiu Jitsu Collective, We Don't Os, American Submission Society, and Hook Post Grip. Did I get all of them?
That's all of them.
That's all of them. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did my research a little bit. So cool. So welcome to the show, Eric.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
For sure. So how'd you get into jujitsu, and at what point did you find yourself creating content and like kind of resharing? I listened to one of your podcasts earlier today, and I know you got in because you wanted to kind of credit creators and reshare. But I guess how'd you start jujitsu, and how'd you get into the
Yeah,
content game?
there's a big gap between starting jujitsu and then the content.
Right.
So uh so I've been doing jujitsu actively for 16 years.
Wow.
So
Okay.
maybe 17 years ago, we'll just say. I got invited to my brother called me, was like, "Hey, I'm doing jujitsu with these guys." And I was like, "I don't know what that is." I'd done other martial arts. I'd done stand up.
Mm-hmm.
I did Taekwondo as a kid. I did Jeet Kune Do and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But my brother was like, "Dude, I'm down the street from your house. Like, you should come check it out." All right, cool, I'll go. So I think I took like, I won't even call them classes, but I took like, I went like 3 times, and it was a couple guys that I had gotten their blue belt somewhere, and I know they trained with a local MMA gym some,
Mm-hmm.
but I went and I remember my first class, we're grappling, and I don't know anything about that other than like wrestling I did as a little kid, not like,
Mm-hmm.
like wrestling with my brothers or my friends or
Right.
whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I remember thinking, all right, I've got all this stand up knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and we're grappling. And I was like, all right, I can hit him here. Okay, I can hit him here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm not gonna be able to hit him very hard. I'm losing. Like it was like, oh no, like I'm losing. Like I can't hit him hard enough from any of these places,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, well, I got to go back. So I went another time, and then I went another time, and that third time, a guy I knew who was a purple belt, but traveling like 2 to 2.5 hours one
Oh,
way,
wow. Jeez.
uh, to train with Carlos Machado in Dallas.
Wow. Okay.
So
Dang.
it was actually a guy I grew up with. It was his brother-in-law. So
Mm-hmm.
um, he came. I got to watch him. But after that, I was a little like, I don't feel like I'm learning anything.
Mm-hmm.
That was just mostly my ego, probably more than anything else. Especially with the way that I train now, I can say it was all ego. I just couldn't handle it.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
but I couldn't let it go. That like it had just really zapped a lot of my self confidence
Mm-hmm.
for just being able to take care of myself.
Sure. Right.
Then that guy he started teaching classes where we lived. So I started with him, and that's where jujitsu got, like, I just, like, just kind of fell in love with it after that, which was hilarious
Mm-hmm.
because I came home after every class, like I was dead, you
Yeah.
know,
Right.
but I was like, I got to go back tomorrow.
Yeah. Right. It's the addict part of being a
Yeah,
white belt.
yeah. It was, I mean, like every other white belt, like I was just getting whooped, you know, night after night. But then like I got some mats with some buddies that
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to come take the classes or whatever, so we put mats in the garage. So I went from doing jujitsu like in the gi like 2 or 3 days a week to adding a couple no gi sessions in the early
Mm-hmm.
morning before my buddies went to work and I went to
Oh,
work. And
nice.
just trying to, I just wanted to do it. It's just like, this is fun. I want to hang out with my friends and do jujitsu, and I think all my friends should do it you know
Right.
then let's see, yeah, I got my blue belt from that guy. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was part of another affiliation, and I was coaching as a blue belt. I started
Wow.
teaching. And I think where we're from, it was mostly out of necessity because we just didn't have a lot available back then.
Mm-hmm.
For the older guys listening, like my first gi was a Howard Liu combat kimono. Like,
Oh,
and
that's
bro,
before my time too.
when those things, like, you let those air dry, my pants, I could stand them up against the wall. You know what I mean? Like, and then so I got my purple belt from another affiliation, and then moved down to the Caribbean after that,
Dang.
and started a school on St. Croix Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, which is being run by one of my students and a really good friend of mine.
Awesome.
And I got my brown belt down there from a gentleman named Xander Heinen, who's a Marcelo Garcia black belt.
Oh, dang.
And
That's cool.
yeah, he just happened to end up on island for a while. And so I
Mm,
built a relationship with him. Super cool guy, huge, just smashed me up all the time.
mm.
And now I'm with Josh Leduc from Sapatero Invitational, or Sapatero Top Team, and
Okay.
Sapatero Invitational.
Dang.
So yeah, man. And
That's dope.
running the Nogi program for Carolina Combatives in Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay. Nice. Let me back up here for a second. How'd you get down to the Caribbean? Like where was that?
Uh,
What was that? What brought you down there? 2016.
I'd been looking to move. I was in Texas. I just didn't like where my life was going. I looked at some other places, and I had a little sister who had moved down there to
Mm,
do some work. And I was
mm-hmm.
just, I hit her up. She's like, "It's awesome. You should come." And then like 6 months later, moved down there. I wasn't married at the time, but my wife and I just like couple suitcases apiece, like just one way tickets to an island. Yeah, bro. Like,
Pick up your life.
and man, we were there for 6 years.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
my son was born there.
Amazing.
Yeah, dude, it was a beautiful time of my life. We started a nonprofit. We work
Mm,
with kids. The guy that runs Justin Smith, he played for the Tampa Bay Bucks like 15, 16 years ago or something like that.
okay. Yeah.
And but he's the guy that runs the jiu-jitsu program, and he heads our organization, Lion Haven
Cool.
St. Croix Community Center. Yeah.
Amazing. That's awesome. So I guess that brought you down there. What brought you back to the mainland then?
And my son,
Your son.
it's
Okay.
just, yeah, the Caribbean is just it's insanely expensive to live there first off. And
Mm,
then so after our son was born, it was, I think it was part of a wish to be back around family,
yeah.
and have, have my son get to spend time with them and vice versa. And like, but we found ourselves in a situation where it was like we had two options, and it was, option A or option B, which was come back to the States. And
Mm-hmm.
so we were just like, all right, I guess it's, like our time is up, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Like yeah, there's definitely. I mean, I don't have kids yet, but that's what I understand is like there's life before kids and then life
But yeah,
after
yeah,
kids,
yeah,
and like
for sure.
it's
Like,
just.
man, I was prepared to stay. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
As far as I was concerned, I was like, I live here, bro. Like, I'm in shorts and flip flops every day. And I mean, I started the only jujitsu program in the U.S. Virgin Islands, like the only jujitsu school that's there.
wow.
So what one of the goals really just became was like, okay, so if I have to leave, how do I establish it well enough that the island doesn't lose jujitsu?
Right.
And I
Yep.
was able to get that done. So, I caught that win. Down there is
Awesome.
where
Yeah.
the content stuff started, the
Mm,
Jiu-Jitsu Collective started. And
mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I got really lucky, I think, with that page. I think I just started it at the right time. And
Mm-hmm.
then at the same time, I had a lot of outside sources, like other content creators that just were so quick to help me
Mm-hmm.
kind of like build it. Cause I mean, that page was created as a way just to share other people's jujitsu.
Right.
And you've seen the post, like, I really don't like it when we don't give credit to where, when somebody's put their time in, you know what I mean? Like it bothers me when I see somebody post a video and on their own page, it gets 1,000 views, and then somebody else shares it and doesn't credit them, and it gets like 10, 20, 30,000 views. And I'm like,
Yeah.
bro,
Right.
like that could have been kind of, that original creator could have picked up maybe 5 or 10 more followers, you know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
but I think everybody's just doing so much cool stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why would I not want to shout them out? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and be involved in that.
For sure. Cool. Yeah, I mean that's really cool that you create that page and like to solve that problem of like you saw
Yeah.
this issue of just kind of like I mean, I guess social media copyright enforcement or whatever that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
not it's very loosey goosey and yeah, like crediting creators it's kind of like a handshake system of like
Right.
you be cool, I be cool and like we
Yeah.
right like it just
I mean,
just let
it's jujitsu, right? Like we all like this same thing. Like, why would I
right.
not want to? I guess it depends on why you start the page, right? Like,
Yeah.
I really just wanted to see if I could grow a page, and I thought
Mm-hmm.
it'd be easier if I did jujitsu because then I'm interested and I'll stay involved, and and then it very much became. I really was just like shouting out creators, but Jordan Macy from Jordan Macy Jiu Jitsu,
Mm-hmm.
he's the one that messaged me and was just like, "Hey, dude, I like what you're doing. Thank you for always like tagging me and giving me credit for what I do." And I was like, all right, that's the key right there, like because that's what I was after. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to hide behind. Like I mean, I don't. I've just now started posting more of my own content on that page.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've got videos mixed in here and there, but I just wanted to like make sure that I was sharing this thing that I love anyway, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like you're saying that you're saving these videos anyway. You're enjoying them, and you just wanted to repost them and
Yeah.
kind of share them out, kind of amplify the the talent, I guess, of these people. So that's cool. So I guess with that, you mentioned as like kind of a tactic or whatever that you used to grow your page is the high five, and I thought that was
Yeah, dude.
really fun, really fun
So
to
I can tell you,
yeah
so we don't own
yeah
that page.
uh
I'm not the original starter of that page.
really okay
One of my buddies, he just asked me what I did. I
mm-hmm.
told him, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, I
Yeah,
was like, gave him the high five method. And
yeah,
he grew that page to like 20,000, 19, 20,000 followers.
uh-huh,
And he just got tired of messing with it. You
mm,
know what I mean? And I was like, dude,
yeah.
I'll take it over. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do with these. I just like that they're there and it's just a place to, post jujitsu.
Right, yeah, definitely, yeah, that makes sense because I mean, I'm a content creator and have collaborated with a lot, but you've got some like really big collaborators that you've like kind of who have you have mutually helped in all this effort. So I guess what and you've mentioned before on your podcast that like it's not a lot of money just for the views or whatever, like your Instagram rewards or whatever, like
Yeah, no,
that's not a real thing.
I've never made any. I think starting Jiu-Jitsu Collective in the Caribbean,
Yeah.
that's outside of the meta pay range.
Okay, yeah.
So I've never gotten paid for views ever.
Yeah,
You
right.
know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so
Yeah. So that's just a like it's for the love of the game at this
yeah, man.
point. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
It's been
Definitely.
cool, man. Like I've
Yeah.
got to meet people. I didn't realize like how much I appreciate it till I went to the EBI Absolute in Austin
Uh,
last year, and
okay, yeah.
I ran into a couple that used to train at 10th Planet Austin, and they were
Mhm.
like a couple of the people like to first collab with me.
Yeah.
And I felt I just walked over. I just want to introduce myself because at that point they don't know who I am, and I was like, I know
Sure.
who you
Yeah.
are, and I just, I'm Eric from Jiu Jitsu Collective. Thank you, and I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
it was kind of like an emotional, like for me, just because it was like Jiu Jitsu is this thing that I've devoted so much of my life to, but it's just helped me meet all these like cool people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
For sure.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing cuz it's so interesting that like jujitsu were is mediated by Instagram. Like I may know somebody's Instagram handle before
Yeah,
their
yeah,
real name.
absolutely. Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure
absolutely.
like I had to really kind of dig in to like who's Jiu-Jitsu Collective. I really had to figure out it was you, Eric Robinson, behind this page.
I didn't know that you knew my name. I was really like, cool.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I whatever. You figure out social media enough, like you can,
Right.
yeah, you can see who's connected to what and whatever. But yeah, that's but like Jiu-Jitsu is ultimately about the people. It's like we can't you can't train Jiu-Jitsu by yourself. Like ultimately, it's a social kind of like sport that we need somebody else to at least one other person to do jujitsu with. So yeah, that's really cool. I guess kind of selfish question. Since you're an expert on what goes viral, what makes a good piece of jujitsu content?
All right. I'm going to tell you right now,
Yeah.
I am not the person to ask.
I mean,
So
you've seen a lot,
listen,
right?
okay. So I can tell you that like I have seen a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes because I've tried to play the game where like I take something maybe from a year or two ago that like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I have this really the video that made my page go viral.
Yeah.
It is there's a young man, his name is Sam Accord, and he does a really great wrist lock with his gi,
Mm-hmm.
and that video has been all over social media, and I got like 11 million views on that video,
Dang.
and I hated it because this was back before. So now, we can go in and add a collaborator after a post has already been done.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't do that back then, and I didn't know who he
No.
was. I found him after, like, while the video was like going viral. So I was able
No.
to tag him, but I wasn't able to get that collab, and like that hurt my feelings because I was
Right.
like, I want this kid to get this, like, I want him
This
to have that
attention.
one
Yeah.
video on his page, right? I've
Right. Yeah.
reshared that same video probably one other time on Jiu Jitsu Collective, a couple times on other pages, and never came
Mm-hmm.
close to the amount of views. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So obviously, I think a good hook,
Yeah. Right.
if I can make the caption or put a hook on the photo that is going to piss people off, I'm going to
Mm.
get I'm going to get a lot of attention. The
Yeah.
problem is I feel a little like when you start putting like a negative hook,
Right.
like I feel a little clickbaity, and
Sure.
I struggle. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I struggle, like especially with a lot of like, like your content and like the type of content, I'm starting to put up. Like I want a better view of the people that use CLA
Sure.
and
Yeah.
eco, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
so like I feel I don't want to start the fight because I don't want to turn the guy off that's reading it. I want him to come in a little with a little less animosity because I think he
Mm-hmm.
can hear better when he starts asking me questions. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
so I'm in a weird struggle where there right now because I don't want the attention and the argument. I want to share the message. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. No, eco has been built on arguments so far. Like that's all the discourse has been is just, oh, you just get into an argument about this thing.
Yeah, and I'm not Greg, so
Yeah. Right.
I don't have the science behind it like he does and those guys. So I mean, I've read some books. I do study. I listen to a lot of podcasts, just mostly just to hear people discuss it, But I'm still doing a lot of it. Like I take a little bit of that and use my own experiences,
Mm-hmm.
to try to put it together.
Right. Yeah. And that's like, I think, yeah, what people argue about is just like they're just talking past each other, and that's just like clickbait type of rage bait kind of engagement type of stuff. And like you were saying, is like I just want to avoid all that. I just want to put out like, hey, this is what I'm doing with eco, like, and this is like the games that I'm making and the stuff I'm doing with my students, and I just want to avoid the argument because I don't have time for that. Like
Yeah,
I've got
it so far, right? Like I want to avoid the argument
yeah.
because really in my head, I'm right. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to argue with you. If you're arguing with me, you're not listening. Like a debate is one thing, an argument is you wanting to be heard.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
if you're not ready to listen, then it doesn't matter what I say to you because you're just going to give me a lot of, well, what if this and what if
Yeah.
this and what if this, and I'm like, dude, like you've already missed the point. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's, I'll only go so far with you before I'm just like, all right, dude, you know, I'm not telling you to stop doing what you're doing. I'm just telling you what I'm doing,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, exactly. Like that I've gotten so much, it may not so much, but like the few people who have given me like a lot of crap, like it's just so like I'm like, why? Like I'm not telling you how to run your classes, but like apparently how I'm running classes is so offensive to your
Yeah.
sensibilities.
Yeah. I think that comes from just people don't like finding out that they're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like my newest argument now is like, I'm not telling you not to drill. I'm just saying that you don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there could be yeah,
I
there
think,
could be a possibility.
yeah,
Just open the aperture.
I think some
Go ahead.
people like to drill. I think they like
Sure.
it. And
Yeah.
I like jujitsu so much that like, bro, if that keeps you on the mat,
Mm-hmm.
cool. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, but I never liked drilling ever. You know what I mean? Like, and uh it's funny because I was a blue belt when Kit Dale kind of came onto the scene telling everybody he didn't drill. And I
Right.
hated drilling back then. And I was still like,
Yeah.
that guy's an idiot. You know what I mean? And now and now I just laugh about my ignorant like blue belt self. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
nobody's wiser about jujitsu on Instagram than the blue belts, man.
Sure. Oh yeah. Blue belts just know everything.
I mean, I
Uh,
was one,
oh yeah. No,
so
yeah. Totally. Totally. Like you're so far in, or not so far in, but like I don't know. Blue belt's a weird thing because like you've achieved the first level of proficiency of like it's your first achievement in jiu-jitsu. But then like when I got my blue belt, I was a blue belt for 6 years. So like when I first got my blue belt, I was like, shit. Like I put in so much effort, so much work for this level, and now there's like four more, like three
yeah.
more to go after this. So like that was like my yeah
I did,
addict like
I think 5.5 years as a blue belt.
yeah yeah
Yeah, like
nice
I liken blue belts to teenagers, you know? It's like I'm a teenager. Mom, Dad, I'm grown now.
yeah right
I can do what I want, like
yeah
I know things you don't know about, you know nothing about my life.
yeah yeah no yeah you do yeah you get interested in yeah just I don't know different stuff you're like figuring out your
Yeah.
own identity now I think at
Yeah.
that point of like what is your game or what is the thing that you want to pursue after you've achieved this level of proficiency or whatever so yeah that's interesting that's cool yeah I think the blue belt is the belt to stay for a long time. I don't regret being a blue belt for 6 years
No,
because
no.
then it's like then I was like pretty ready at purple belt. I was like already pretty competitive like when I got my purple belt and I was able to go into competition and be like, "Oh, okay, I'm more or less like at the right rank now." So, versus like the normal way is like purple belt's pretty long, right? Like it's a few years or whatever and you can like really feel your whatever. You you're not
No,
quite
I
ready if at the beginning of it
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
I think early blue belt years, like after like 2 years, I was getting
Mm-hmm.
mad that I wasn't a purple belt.
Mm,
And then I really just like I finally found a spot in my training where it was like obviously I still wanted the belts, but
yeah,
I was
yeah,
also like, dude, like I got guys that I train with that outrank me or guys that don't outrank me but are better than me. So I'm gonna try to be less concerned. So when I got my purple belt, I was like, I think I deserve this. Purple belt for maybe 3 years and
mm-hmm.
got my brown belt. And that coach was like, dude, this is the one that's going to be your hardest belt.
Mm,
And I'm still a brown belt. And I think I was looking the other day, dude. I think it has been like 4 going on 5 years as a
mm,
brown
yeah,
belt. But I'm
gotcha.
always so far removed from my coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
I was in the Caribbean and Josh is in Florida. Now I'm in South Carolina, but he's in Florida. So it's like it doesn't make it easy for me to get down there all the time.
Sure.
And then up until recently, like I mean, I'm coaching again, but I spent about a year where I only trained like once a week,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So, but at this point, honestly, like I want that black belt, like
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
be able to have it, but like I don't. I mostly only train no gi.
Mm-hmm.
It's so rare that I put my gi on anymore, and you know, so it's like, well, if I get my black belt, I'm definitely going to go to open mat in the gi because I want to put the belt on just to show it off.
Right.
But the belt doesn't make me any better at
Yeah.
jujitsu.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's only if you wanted to like I guess I come from like I've wanted to compete like the entire time that I've trained and have only recently kind of let off the gas of competing. But like back when there was just the gi was like the main thing, I was like, oh, whatever, I'm limited by the competition level by the gi or whatever. But at the same time, or by the belt level, like IBGFU, blue belts go with blue belts and purple belts go like my idea was like okay if I'm not a world champion at the belt level I'm probably still that belt level like that like there's
Right.
no I don't have a
Yeah.
right I don't have a right to say coach promote me because whatever if I'm not the world champion then clearly there's work to do or whatever right so yeah that's it and just yeah I train 10th planet so belt. Like we don't really wear our belts either, so it's not a top of mind thing anyway. Just because you don't really. I mean, I know everybody because I've trained at the same gym for like 6 years or whatever, but nobody really is, I don't know, sizing each other up or whatever. You just
Yeah,
know
no,
that.
I love that about
Yeah,
Nogi is like,
right.
I tie that belt on, man, especially like when I was a blue belt, right? Like, because
Mm-hmm.
the jujitsu was so new in the area, and then purple belt as well. Like, there's this like, oh, I'm a blue belt now. Like, I gotta prove myself. Oh, I'm a purple belt now. Like,
Yeah,
and you tie that strap on, dude, and like you
yeah.
go visit a gym, like, and maybe it's a small gym, maybe they don't have, like when I was a purple belt, like I visited this gym, and it was like white belts and blue belts, man. And like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, they were trying to kill me, like, and I'm like, of course I didn't let it happen,
Right. Yeah.
No, but it was just like, I was like, the coach was like, hey guys, go get you a nice easy roll in to get warmed up, which I appreciated, right? Because I didn't have to do line
Mm.
drills.
Yeah.
But it's like
Exactly.
I get out with one of his, blue belts, and like it's first round, I'm not warm, what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
I spent the rest of the class like with my neck and shoulder just like cranked up, like
Yeah.
because I was like, I wasn't warm. Like, like this guy
Mm-hmm.
wanted to like scrap, you
Yeah.
know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, it is,
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it
Yeah.
is. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a culture thing, and just I don't know. Like it's a weird thing to put a hierarchy on this hobby. Like it's completely optional.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
it's not
yeah.
a like people come here to like for fun. Like it's not
Right.
a like people don't do this for. I mean, a very small percentage of people like do it to compete or do it to like for a profession. Like even smaller
Right.
percentage for trying to be a
Yeah.
professional or whatever. Right.
No,
So.
I kind of expect it nowadays,
Hmm.
like, so the gym I'm coaching at now, I've only been there for a
Hmm.
little over a month, what I'm saying? For the first couple weeks, man, like some of those guys tried to like, they wanted to test themselves out, and I don't
Sure.
blame them, right? Like,
Right.
I'm new, I'm
Hmm.
running the entire Nogi program. They're like, let's go
Mm.
find out,
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah.
but I don't really I don't take it personally anymore like I did
Hmm.
in my earlier belts. Like, I
Sure.
think, you know, obviously I bring my ego everywhere I go because I don't believe
Yeah.
we're supposed to leave it out.
No, absolutely not.
But like, my ego was worse when I knew less. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Like now that I
Right.
know more, I
Yeah.
really just like every time I'm getting like mashed up, I really just I'm like, this is my fault. Like I accept all blame for if I get so like, I mean, if you've been training for a while, when you got, and
Hmm.
when you're like, I messed up like 3 steps ago and should
Hmm.
have never let him get here. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And
Yeah.
if somebody just catches me, like
Hmm.
sweeps me, whatever, like, dude, I'm so stoked on that kind of thing. Like that
Right.
kind of excitement that comes from like what just happened to me, or I didn't expect that.
Hmm.
Whereas like, dude, if I let a blue belt, like a decent blue belt, like get all the way to my arm and get my arm extended, like I have to expect, what I'm saying, that
Hmm.
they're gonna get it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and now I'm like, bro, he got it. I don't say nothing to him about it. Like I don't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that
It's legit.
I
Yeah.
yeah, I'm the one that messed up. You know what I'm saying? Because there were 3 moves back where I was like, this kid's gonna try to armbar me. I should do
Hmm.
something about that. And
Right.
I'm 42 years old. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like I shouldn't have let that 25-year-old get that far. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that's just
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
but it's just part of the game. It's just part of
Exactly.
training.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Like it's there's a certain amount of like I don't know. You have to. It's not like they are doing jujitsu. Like they are doing jujitsu to you, and jujitsu is going to work whether they you like whether you let it happen or not. Like if they get you in the armbar position and they whatever extend their hips, that you're gonna have to tap or whatever. Like jujitsu is it's yeah this kind of like universal thing that exists outside of everyone, but we still have access to it. Like we have access to all these principles, and that's just objective truth that okay, if somebody's going to get on my back and I can't escape, or I whatever fucked up and I didn't like escape earlier and now they've got a pretty deep choke, my late stage defense isn't going to be very good. That like that
Right.
the odds are not in my favor here. So yeah.
I like it's funny we're talking about like in the arm extended. I was telling the guys that I was coaching tonight. I was like my several months ago, my if I don't get to go to open mats very often
Hmm.
because I work, I got a family, and
Yeah.
but my intention for open mats now is
Hmm.
to tap as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Like a hundred, I go with that mindset of like, you know, for me, open mats are just fun most of the time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
and because of the way I train, I'm able to set intention in the training room.
Hmm.
So intention for open mat is to tap as fast as possible. Like I don't want my arm to get straight. You get it
Oh
away
yeah.
from my body, bro. I'm gonna
Hmm.
tap because I
Yeah.
want to. I want to do 10, 12 rounds today. You know what I'm saying? And I still have to be able to come home and pick up my kid
Yep.
and do things and like. But I think that's just part of like also getting older. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? Like I'm
Yeah.
just like I just try. Yeah, yeah. Like my ego when I was younger, dude. I mean, not with joints. I wouldn't let my joints get hurt, but
Hmm.
like, dude, I would let my neck just get cranked on. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And
Yeah.
while it's happening, it's like I don't have to tap to this. Like he doesn't have it. It's just really uncomfortable. But now my neck is all sideways for like the next 3 days. And it's
Yeah.
like it's that kind of stuff that I have to be like, all right, Eric, you got things to do. Outside
Yeah.
of jujitsu. So it's like if he cranks it, like blue belt Eric would have been like, bro, that was a crank, like, and now I'm like, I just that's just jujitsu. You know what I mean? Like I'm the one that made the decision. I'm the one that has the power I have all the power to make you let go of everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
so
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's the where was I gonna you just said something yeah, that was a crank. I don't know. Lost it. But yeah, like that, like making that excuse versus like, oh yeah, I've got shit to do later. That's like this the 6 a.m. motto. Like I train at 6 a.m. and I have trained at 6 a.m. for years now, 6 years or so. And it's just like, yeah, a bunch of dudes with jobs who come in there and we get good work in, but
yeah,
we also don't fight to the death. It's just
right.
like we got shit to do later today. Like we
Yeah, no,
gotta
my I do two noon classes and then two 7 p.m. classes a week. And my noon classes, we're doing the same stuff, but not as intensely,
hmm.
as the evening classes because my noon classes, it's guys that can come in on their lunch break. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they got to go
Hmm.
back to their job after. Like I'm
Right.
not doing 6 minute rounds. I'm doing 4 minute rounds. And
Mm.
maybe I'm bringing the constraints down differently. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? Just working in the same area just to like, because they got things to do. You know what I mean? I just want them to have a good time. You know what I mean? And get some
Exactly.
work in. You
Right.
know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I guess yeah, bringing it back around to eco, like how did you get started with that? Like since you've kind of moved around a little bit and you've
So
had different coaching and yeah, go ahead.
I think my introduction was kind of fun. So St. Croix in the Virgin Islands is like a 20-40 minute flight to Puerto Rico,
Mm.
and I'm friends with a dude from over there named Fernando. So when the death squad was moving to Puerto Rico,
Uh-huh.
I knew several like a month or two before because
Wow.
Fernando messaged me and he's like, bro, like they're coming down, and if you tell anybody, I'll kill you because you're the only person I've told, and nobody's supposed to know. And
Dang.
so I got the opportunity to go. I could call him up and be like, hey, bro, can I come stay this weekend?
Uh-huh.
So I got the opportunity to go to Puerto Rico a couple times and just go take a couple of dinners classes, and
Wow.
it's real cool. Like I got pretty much my first time there. It's so funny to me because my first drilling partner was Big Dan, who is
No.
so dude, I'm like 6'5". Like I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not a
Uh-huh.
tiny guy. Like,
Yeah.
but Dan towers over me and also had like 100 pounds on me.
Wow.
Dude, he was the best drilling partner. He was so gentle and so good to
Hmm.
work with. Like it was real cool to actually say that I got that experience.
Hmm.
I got matched up by Nicky Ryan pretty good,
Hmm.
who I'm pretty sure he wasn't trying, but he was just um but one of the things that I picked up from Danaher is that you know, when he does his rounds, they're all positional. And so I was like, okay, so there was drilling. There was drilling and
Yeah.
then positional sparring. And it'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, guys, mount. And there's just tasks,
Yeah.
essentially they have to do, or back control or leg lock or whatever. And it was tasks, you know what I'm saying, like that way. So I wouldn't call it so much, maybe it's positional sparring, but he definitely put like task constraints on it. Like you do this, this guy's
Yeah.
objective is to do this.
Uh,
So I went back home and I was like, I started doing a little more positional sparring.
mm-hmm.
And I had done it before, but never a lot, you know. And so essentially, like if we were drilling like a half guard pass that day and a half guard sweep,
Mm-hmm.
then we would do some rounds in half guard. And I remember the first time I really did it, I had another purple belt on island who was really good. And I think the whole game was like, all right, you're gonna start in half guard.
Mm-hmm.
Top guy's objective is to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom guy's objective is just not to let him. It's literally just not lose the half guard, right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is before I don't know who Greg is, like,
Sure.
you
Yeah.
know,
This is
and
years.
yeah. So I after class, it's just me and that purple belt.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude, I felt like it was really hard. It was a lot harder than I expected it to be with the level of guys that I had on the mat. And I was like, hey Ramel, like, how did you feel about training tonight? And he was like, bro, that white belt passed my guard twice.
Oh, shit.
And he was like, and I wasn't letting him. So we're discussing it, right? And we're like,
Yeah.
dude, when you put a win loss on it like that, you're like, and there are things that we do now, right? When you've been doing jiu-jitsu, like, all right, the pass is coming. They are going to get it. I'm going to prepare for what comes next. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And work through the position. But when you lose the game from them getting that leg free in
Mm-hmm.
half guard, like that felt
Yeah.
weird. So
Right.
he was like, dude, I was like legit trying to hang on. Like I didn't want him to pass, dude. And like, I was like, okay, so we're seeing something. Let's
Yeah.
just keep doing that, right?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
then my current coach now, Josh Leduc, he put up a post one day and he listed like 4 or 5 coaches that he was like, these guys are doing something different or something special, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like Sean Applegate, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like some other guys, but I knew the name of every guy on the list except for Greg Souders. So I was like, let me go find out who this guy is. So I guess we're talking over 2 years ago now. Like, so there was a very limited amount of stuff on him as far as like the podcast he had done. I want to say it was around that time maybe you had done one with. Did you
Yeah.
have him on?
Yeah. I had him
Okay.
on like 2 years ago. And that
Okay.
was
So
I
I
was
feel
early on the Greg Souders
yeah, yeah,
train, I
yeah.
believe. Yeah.
So because to be honest, I didn't know that was you
Yeah.
until a few months ago.
Oh,
Like
okay. Yeah.
because we had started collabing on
Right.
off your stuff and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I was just
Yeah.
on your page and I was like, wait, that's the dude from like, because I'd watched a
Right.
couple of your podcasts,
Uh-huh.
and because I was just trying to find everything from Greg. And then I'm seeing all the back then we were getting more podcasts of guys who were trying to just like debunk the
Yeah.
ecological approach.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so something that stuck out with me is everybody just kept saying that Greg was doing positional sparring,
Yeah.
and Greg just kept saying, that's not what I'm doing. And
Uh-huh.
I almost just moved on.
Mm.
I almost just moved on, but I couldn't get over the fact that Greg just was trying to explain himself, and I don't understand what he's saying, you know, but he's articulate, and he was like, that's not what I'm doing. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take him at his word
Mm-hmm.
and be like, that's not what he's doing. So I started paying attention more,
Sure.
you know, and then luckily some more content came on and I started like, okay, we're looking at skills differently. This isn't
Mm-hmm.
just starting around on somebody's back or just starting around in, half guard. It's fighting for the underhook and making that the game, or, like
Mm-hmm.
anything simple like that. So I was giving it a shot,
Mm-hmm.
and not long after I moved back to the States, I just got on the phone with Greg
Yeah.
and I was just like, dude, I was asking him some questions and he's like, hey dude, I'll do an hour like consultation call, or, if you want it. And I was like, I'm down, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of explained to him what I just told you,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm beginning to understand that what you're doing is not positional sparring. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
and then he goes, you explain to me, you try to explain to me what you think I'm doing. So
Yeah.
I gave like a really crap explanation. And he goes, that's what I'm doing. And I was like,
Nice.
okay, so I'm in the right direction. I don't have the knowledge yet, and then of course, I'd heard the list of books, but he gave me books and I do audiobooks because
Hmm.
from driving and stuff like that. Like
Sure.
I've listened to like How We Learn to Move like 3 times,
Mm.
which is really nice because I pick up
Yeah.
new information. And then I've gone
Nice.
through the Ecological coach,
Mm.
I think twice now.
Nice.
So, but just
Yeah.
it's like hearing it over and over again. Like it
Yeah,
really
for
helps.
sure.
Like things make more sense the more you go
Yeah,
along.
definitely. Yeah, the second book by Rob Gray that started really technical, and it was like he started breaking out equations and shit, like in the like something about like I don't know. I was like, oh man, am I stepping into the wrong like field here? I mean, I am technical, like I do software engineering, but it's like was this like more sciency than what I can handle? But I think it was just kind of at the start of that second book, and then kind of the rest was more manageable. But yeah, I haven't like revisited. I should probably do that. And
I really think that if you
yeah,
do, like so
yeah,
much is going to make more sense.
for sure. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because basically, like my like you when you mentioned Kit Dale, like back in the day, I was like, oh wow, that seems kind of reasonable. Of like, oh, if you just try to do stuff and you like are very intentional about like, okay, I'm trying to whatever work out of half guard today and I'll only do half guard or whatever. I wish more people picked up on Kit Dale like that. That's kind
Man,
of like
I laughed at myself so hard when
yeah,
he kind of came back up like with all the with the ecological stuff that's going on. I
yeah,
was just like,
yeah, yeah,
it's so funny that I've always hated drilling. I
yeah,
hated drilling back then. This guy says you don't have to. And I
yeah,
blew him off
right,
knowing that I don't like to drill. Like he literally was like, hey, here's another option.
right,
And I still was just like, no, dude, you can't do that. Like
yeah,
you gotta
exactly,
drill. You gotta drill. Like it shows like the level of ignorance that we hold on to. Like we don't want to see other options. I think a lot. And I spent years collecting techniques that I
right,
don't use,
yeah, exactly,
you know.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I feel like yeah, I wasn't in a position to like do anything Kit Dale said anyway. I was like white or blue belt at that time. I was like I didn't run a program. I was just like on somebody else's time, like just doing what I was told. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we're drilling. Like that's what this class is. So, but now that I'm running, yeah, I have 2 classes a week that I teach, and I've been implementing it over like the last year or so. Is like I've basically took over this Tuesday, Thursday, 6 a.m. a year ago, and just have done basically only eco. And people have like just rave reviews about it of like just oh it's so fun, like we're doing stuff the whole time, and like it's just so I don't know. I don't get why people rail against it so much if they've never tried a class, if they've never like even done this thing.
Mike,
Like
some people just hate fun.
yeah,
Like I
right?
really believe that. Like I think that some
Sure.
people just like they can't grasp the idea that it's fun. And I mean this when I say this, like
Mm,
fun is the reason I do jujitsu. And not only did like moving to an ecological approach like make me start really like looking at jujitsu drastically differently. Like
mm,
I started loving it even more, and the classes are fun. And I think that like if you can have a fun program
mm,
and learn something,
yeah,
that's a winning combination. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
I got really lucky when I came to the States because I did try to start up my own program, but I was in a very tiny town and I needed to go work, so I shut it down. But I was doing
mm,
all CLA. It was the first time I was like, I'm gonna do CLA from the ground up. And when I ended up closing that program, the one day a week that I was getting to train, they had me teach
mm,
and they let me spend that time running the class how I wanted. And the guy that ran the program, like super welcoming that, like super appreciative to, like that they let me in, to come
Mm-hmm.
train and I get to teach. And when I left, I'm there. He was like, when you told me how you're teaching, I was real skeptical. And he goes, man, I had the most fun in all your classes. Like I 100% saw the benefit. You know, the gym I'm at now, the owner of that gym, he's like, I
Mm-hmm.
think he's a first degree black belt. He'd never heard of it
Mm-hmm.
when I like was talking to him, and he loves it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
he's
cool.
in his 50s. He's like been doing jiu-jitsu for like 20 years, 25 years or
Wow.
something like that,
Yeah, right.
and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, dude, I love your class. It's so much fun. You know what I mean? Like, and I that's reaffirming for me. Like,
Exactly.
as long as they're having fun, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's, if longevity is the goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, and I think it should be. I think longevity should be the goal. Fun keeps people coming. Like I said something about being fun, and you commented back about engagement. Like,
Yeah.
and like if they're engaged, they're gonna learn. You know what I mean? Like, and that's all I want. I just want to share this thing that I love, and I want you to have the most fun doing it. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And everybody struggles with it at the beginning, whether you drill or whether you use eco. All brand new white belts suck the same. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's all going to be hard no matter what. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so like my mindset is make it fun. If you like to drill, go drill. They absolutely drill at the gym that I'm at, just not in my classes. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and if people like those classes, dude, I'm bro, I like you because we do jujitsu together, bro.
Right.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't,
Exactly.
so
Yeah, yeah, and that's something that I'm kind of leaning into more of, just like, how do we make life more fun? Like,
yeah.
the more the more fun you're having, the more engaged you are in everything. Like, how do I have more fun? Like, I'm recently like lifting weights more now. And I'm like, okay, how do I just make, lifting weights just sucks. Like, it's just so boring compared to jujitsu. It's like, okay, how do I make it more fun? All right, let me just dip my toe back in the water and just get a sick arm pump, right? And just
Right.
do bicep curls and push-ups
Yeah.
and make me feel good about myself. And I'm like,
Yes,
okay,
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Like that like, let's get the, like, let's incept that feel good part and associate it with the thing that sucks. And maybe it sucks a little bit less. So I think there's really, like, I don't know. I think everything is eco. Like, when Rob Gray says, like, how we learn to move, I think he could just lop off move and be like, this is just how we learn. Like, we're always moving, so we're always learning. Like, there's no, like, we're like, when, say, like, you're doing a math problem, like, you think that's so, like, up in your head, you're like calculating whatnot, but like, ultimately you have to write that problem down on the sheet of paper. Like, there's some amount of like motor neurons involved in that process. Maybe that's like, it is abstract and like you have to think about stuff, but you're also like moving. Like, your body's still moving that during that whole time. This is probably like my like crazy, like, out there type of like conspiracy, my extremist eco
Right.
maximalist kind of opinion, but I feel like, I mean, kind of like Greg is like, how far can we take this? And how do we like get this, maybe apply this to more places besides jiu-jitsu? So,
Yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know, man. I
yeah.
think like I've done it long enough now that like
Yeah.
there's no going back. Like I've been to other gyms
Oh
where I
yeah.
had to
Right.
drill, and
Uh-huh.
I can't do it, bro. Like I'm just
No.
like, this is
It's
not fun. It's
Yep.
not useful.
Yep.
Like it's not helping me at all. Like and I was at a gym training for a little bit in Texas a few months ago,
Mhm.
and I've never been really great using like De La Hiva, and but
Mhm.
they drilled some De La Hiva, and in my head I was like, maybe this will help me, and I can't remember any of it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I could go find some videos, I could rewatch and be like, okay, this is what I need to go look at, and I'll go do that. I could go to the gym and do it, but like, it absolutely did not stick from
Mm.
that drilling.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I guarantee you, if I'd have set myself up in a 6 minute game and gave myself the task of like starting a De La Hiva and trying to destabilize somebody, I'd have it
Mhm.
down. And if I
Yeah.
didn't have it down, I'd figure out how to connect it to a guard I'm more comfortable with, which means that now I have somewhere to go.
Hmm.
So I can always go to De La Riva now because either I'm going to figure out how to destabilize you or I'm going to start losing it and I'm going to move into another guard. But
Exactly.
that's fine. I can connect them. That's cool with me, you know?
Right. Yeah. That would be something that you could that you could take away from the class and be like,
Hmm.
this is mine. This is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
my interpretation or my takeaway that you can go and be like, that's you're embodying that now
I
rather
think
than
that,
go ahead.
like, no, I was just saying, like, how we connect things, right? Like in jujitsu for ourselves, right? Everybody really likes to rave about, oh man, I got this really great detail.
Yeah.
And I used to be that way. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like and don't get me wrong, dude. I could get in a position and you could be like, hey, bro, try this grip instead, or dude, and I'm gonna right then I'm gonna look at it and I'll be like, okay, okay, I got you. Like that was
Yeah.
helpful, and I'm
Right.
I'm gonna be able to put it into play. You know what
Sure.
I'm saying
Yeah.
later on, but
Yeah.
the reason I'm able to put it into play is because you gave me a detail on something that I'm already familiar with.
Exactly.
You know,
Yep.
Kit Dale said something I thought was great. He said, if I have to show you the move more than
Hmm.
3 times, you don't understand the position.
Mm.
And I was like,
Yeah.
that's super powerful because that's why the details work. A detail that I can give you on a triangle, you could take to it immediately. But a
Hmm.
detail that I give to a white belt that doesn't know how to use the triangle or a blue belt who's still like barely getting it, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, that same detail may not help them because they're not ready for it yet. You know what I mean? And we hunt all these details. I like the idea. Like there's been some things that I've heard, through like the eco community, and Kit Dale's, that was one of them. It was like, if I have to show you more than 3 times, you do not understand the position. And I was
Hmm.
like, that helps me in a way that if somebody's struggling, it allows me to back up,
Hmm.
and put them in the right position. And then I don't know who said this, but somebody put up a post before I started the page, hook, post, grip. And it was just
Hmm.
like, all guards are comprised of a hook, post, and grip.
Mm.
And man, that one, I remember the first time somebody put me in like De La Hiva.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had to go to somebody after class and I was like, what guard was that? So that I could go home, get on YouTube and figure out how to pass De La Hiva guard because I thought I needed specific guard passes for every guard.
Sure. Yeah.
I spent years that way thinking I
Hmm.
needed to have, oh, I need more X guard passes because so and so's using X guard, or I need more this, or, more spider guard passes. And as soon as it was just put in my face, like, no, dude, you just don't want their hands and feet on you. Oh my gosh.
Just clear all
Just
that shit
keep
off. Yeah.
just so I
Just
mean, and
yeah.
and now that's how I pushed it to my students. I start them in different guards,
Hmm.
and they're like, bro, he keeps sweeping me, dude. Get his feet off of you. What are you doing? Like you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want his hands and feet on you. That's it. Play
Yep.
that game. Don't let him put her hands and feet on you.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden they're passing guards.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just need like heuristics, just kind
Yeah.
of a mental shortcut of like, all
Yeah.
right, just clear the like. Yeah. I think people, yeah, don't like Gregisms where it's clear the periphery, attack center mass or whatever. And it's like,
But I mean, if you listen to him talk, like
yeah,
that's not how he's talking in his gym.
no,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's
right,
talking like you and I are talking,
sure, yeah,
and like I do agree with him though. Like jujitsu's not as hard
hmm,
as people think it is, man. And I've been telling
sure,
people that I've been telling people jujitsu was hard for years. I'm like, bro, it's gonna be the
yeah,
hardest thing you've ever done. It's gonna be the hardest. Nah, dude, it's because A, I don't know what I'm doing, and B, like I'm not the coach that I thought I was.
hmm,
You know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
think that's another thing is like imposter syndrome for me once I moved to CLA, out the window.
mm,
Like I was like, yeah, I've put together so many games that just flopped. Like as soon as we got them started, you know what I
right,
mean? That I'm like,
hmm,
hold on, guys, I got to walk this one back.
right,
Yeah, I don't think this didn't play out the way I was hoping. We're gonna,
yeah,
my bad. I'm gonna fix
yeah,
this though. Don't worry. You know what I mean?
right,
Like,
yeah,
and man, Greg said something in a podcast a while back where he was just like, like maybe the coaching in jujitsu isn't as good as we think it is. Like why does it take 10 to 15 years to get a black belt? Like maybe we suck at teaching it. And I was like, no. like is that the case? Like, do I suck at teaching this? And I don't think I sucked at teaching with what we had. You know what I'm saying? I think I taught on that 10 to 15-year game plan.
Sure. Right.
I hope to change that for myself and my
Yeah.
students.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely the kind of the, it feels like a responsibility or obligation of like, all right, I don't want you new white belt to have it as hard as I did, or like have like, I want it to be easier. I want to like help you, yeah, make way faster progress, make you much more competent, much more faster than I made it. So I
I
think
think that
that's, yeah.
um, I heard somebody say this about blue belts. Like blue belts are number one dropout belt, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I think the main reason, honestly, is I think that somebody was telling me that the average adult starts a new hobby like every 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And then so
Yep.
you're dealing with that. It's new hobbies, it's life, it's work, it's kids. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like it's
Yep.
things like that. So I get that, but I think another thing we talk about plateaus in jujitsu.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do think blue belt is like the worst plateau.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because your ego's struggling with it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You're supposed to be better than these guys, but you're not as good as these guys, and
Mm-hmm.
and everybody wants to remind you that you're just a blue belt, you know? And like and so I think CLA removes plateaus. And I think that's what we're gonna see because like if you're actually on a path for growth and for
Mm-hmm.
skill acquisition, and
Yeah.
it's so easy at that point, right? Like I think if somebody comes up through CLA by blue belt, they're going to start noticing where they are making mistakes because it's just been ingrained in them that they're constantly problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't think we're going to see the same plateaus, for those guys because they're going to be like, I'm struggling with this. And either
Mm-hmm.
A, I know how to address it so I can get in here and put in some work to fix this problem,
Mm-hmm.
or I know how to like express what I'm dealing with to my coach who is going to put me in the position to work through
Mm-hmm.
it or say that thing to get my mind going so that I
Mm-hmm.
can learn, faster. And I think
Right.
that's beneficial because I think plateaus bum people out, man. Like
Yeah.
I think you people quit. They're just like, I'm not learning anything. I'm done with this. Like, like
Yeah.
I don't want that for people. I mean, if
Exactly.
you obviously, most people don't make it to black belt anyway. So, but like, if I can be the reason that one more person like sticks it out to the next belt,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Definitely. Like that's, I guess, yeah. Bring around home is jujitsu's about the people, and it's about like just sharing this like, yeah, human experience with them, and making it fun, making it worth our time, and yeah, making it feel like they're progressing in something. They're not just stuck, because like the rest of their life could be like crappy. Like they have a shitty job, and they're the rest of their life isn't going as how they like it to or whatever. But they come to jiu-jitsu, they come into your program, they're gonna have fun for that hour or hour and a half or however long you guys train for. It's like, I feel that responsibility as a coach of just like, all right, we're here, we're going to get better, and these games are going to make you better. Like
And
it's impossible to not get better by spending direct quality time in these particular important situations that I kind of design or put together
right.
for the class. So
I know
yeah.
that like, in the earlier podcasts, like Greg really hated saying games.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I want it to be a game. I
Yeah.
talk about it like it's a game because games
Mm-hmm.
are fun.
Yeah.
Like games
There
are
you go.
fun. And like
Right.
that's my whole thought. Like I'm just playing games, guys. Like I mean, half the time I tell these guys like, guys, I don't really know what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I'm like, but I want you to have fun. You know what I mean? Like I don't want you to show up, dread the first 40 to 60 minutes
Mm-hmm.
of warm-ups and static drilling
Mm-hmm.
for the 30 minutes of fun where you
Yeah.
get to roll. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I would go to class and drill so that I could get to the rolling. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
and I used to be on the extreme version of that where like I supported coaches who were like, if you didn't make it to drilling, you don't get to roll. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To me, it was the idea. I was like, you have to earn it, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you have to earn that thing. And like, man, like, I mean, but I think we all do that. I think we all take information that we learn from our coaches or people that we look up to at white and blue belt, and we take it as a
Hmm.
piece of gold that we got to hold on to. You know,
Right.
I
Yeah.
think the only thing that I just never could get behind was that it was you got to train in the gi to be good at no gi.
Yeah. Right.
Like I just never, I was like, that you cannot convince me. And even when I tried to work it out of my head so that I could regurgitate that information, I was like, I just like, it's like stuck in my throat. I can't say it. Like,
Yeah.
because I spent 12 years in the gi, doing gi more than no.
Right.
It absolutely did not make me better
Yeah.
at no gi. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of
Hmm.
fact, when I put a gi on, like, dude, I have to like, I went to open mat a couple weeks ago in the gi,
Hmm.
just to go train with the guys at the gym I'm
Yeah.
at because some of the guys I hadn't met yet, and it was like it was my second time to train in a gi there, I think, and I was like, it was like one of the first times in a long time that I felt okay in my gi. You know what I mean? Because like 12 years in the gi, I can't help but make those grips. You know, like even when I haven't done it in a long time, like I grab a hold of that lapel or those sleeves, man, I don't want to let go.
Yep.
And all of a sudden passing is way harder
Right.
because I do a lot of loose passing, you know,
Hmm.
like so no, it doesn't make you better. I
Yeah.
like the idea of like I like them both. And if my only option is to put on a gi so that I could do jujitsu, I'm going to put on the gi.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
if I have the option though, let me just put on some little bitty short and a
Right.
rash guard
Exactly.
and like
Yep.
I want to do that,
Right.
you know.
Yep. For sure. Cool. Yeah. I feel like jiu-jitsu guys, like they maybe hesitation or whatever is like, oh, games, I don't want to be soft and play games or whatever, like I don't want to, but so I'm like, okay, let me call them battles, let me just like
Right.
rebrand them maybe, and
I
hopefully
I think
like,
that'd be so funny to call them
right,
battles. Battle
like
one.
yeah, I mean, in my, I don't know, in my head I always categorize these things as battles anyway, of like, oh, we're fighting over this
Hmm.
underhook, whoever's
Yeah.
more stubborn over this underhook is gonna win. Okay, let's let's have a fight or battle over that thing or whatever. So I don't know.
I would say anybody who thinks what we do, if they hear the word game and they're
Yeah,
like, that's soft, like,
yeah,
bro, you need to go take a class because I'm going to tell you right now, most people want to vomit from my
oh, yeah,
first like class, like
yeah,
if they're taking the first class with me. And
yeah,
it's not because it's like overly strenuous. It's because mentally, like it catches you off guard mentally because you're people, I don't think people realize when they come into drill how much they just turn their head off
yep,
and just do it, you know? So mentally, you're already on guard because you're like, I don't exactly know what this guy does. I just know it's not drilling and I don't know
yeah,
what it is. But really, what it is we don't realize some of the skills we use, like how hard they are if you just concentrate on that skill.
right, yeah.
You
Because
know what
yeah,
I mean?
you pass the guard, and that's like, I can pin them for the next 5 minutes, and I don't have
Right.
to like
Yeah.
pass the guard again. Yeah,
But like when you're playing a guard game where maybe no, that's my headset. Where a guard passing game where you know you can't go chest to chest, right? And
mm-hmm,
you're just keeping their hands and feet off of you. Like that's kind of
yep,
exhausting. Like that
mm-hmm,
constant movement becomes pretty exhausting here.
mm-hmm.
Um, but you know, I think everybody should come check it out. Like,
Oh yeah, definitely. The preaching to the choir. I think
yeah, man.
it's a better way. Like you can, like, it's just you're going live the whole time, so it's like much harder than drilling. So like
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
people are like, oh, it's, I don't know, it's
You're gonna put in 40 to 60 minutes of some
yeah,
solid work.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, so.
So yeah. Anyways, cool. Anyways, any last thoughts or anything you want to plug before
Oh
we
man, no,
wrap?
go follow Jiu Jitsu Collective.
Yeah,
Working on a new rash guard that's coming out soon. So
awesome.
we're gonna launch that. Make Americanas great. That's
Make
what it's gonna do.
Americana's great. There we go.
So
Yeah.
Uh, man, just for anybody who hates eco, you don't know what you're hating. I don't
Yeah.
think you know what you're hating at all, and I think you should just
Right.
go give it a shot. I gave 12 years of drilling a shot,
Yeah.
and I don't think it was the right decision, you know. But no, man, Mike, it was just it's really great to finally like get a face to face with you, and I love what you're doing.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah, you're it's helped me out a lot, and yeah, just like it's great to just talk with somebody who's like me, just across the country, like doing the same
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, man.
and like it makes me feel like less crazy about
Right.
like, oh,
No,
am
I
I
get it.
doing something completely strange? It's like, no, like
No,
there's a group of people
dude,
out there
I
doing
listen
this.
to all kinds of podcasts, and what I've learned is that we are all coming to the same conclusions. Like,
Yeah,
and I that's very affirming to me. You know what I mean? Like we're all just like I really just love that everybody's like, no, this is more fun. I'm gonna do it. You know,
yeah, yeah,
like
yep,
that. I'm sold. You know what I mean? Like that's all it needed to be was more fun, and I'm in.
exactly.
So
Yeah, cool. All right, well, thank you, Eric. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
man.
Thank you for your time. All right, I'll see you guys later.